We're right outside of the scene here at Annunciation Catholic School and Church. Earlier, just moments ago, we spoke with a fifth grader who was in Mass at the time that those shots rang out. He said he was right next to the windows, the stained glass windows you heard Police Chief Brian O'Hara describe as the way in which this gunman opened fire through those stained glass windows. And he talked about how they prepare for active shooter drills in school, but that it was never at church, which to me just struck me as just the innocence of this young boy, saying we practiced this, but we didn't practice it for this moment. And he also talked about how his friend dove over him, and he was hiding under a pew, and his friend was shot in the back. And he said his friend is so brave for doing that and protecting him. It was really so powerful to hear, and we want you to hear directly from this young, brave boy.
It was like the shots fired, and then we kind of like got under the pews. It kind of, they shot through the stained glass windows, I think, and it was really scary.
What did you do after that?
Well, we waited like 10 to 5 minutes, I don't really know, and then we went to the gym, and then the doors locked just to make sure he didn't come, and we waited in the gym for more news, and everyone was okay, or most people were okay.
Who were your friend, Wes?
My friend got hit in the back.
Did he go to the hospital?
Yeah, he went to the hospital.
What went through your mind when you saw that?
I was super scared for him, but I think now he's okay.
So you heard it there from Wes, that really brave fifth grade boy who was in the church at the time this happened. He described seeing his mom when he could finally be reunited with her, and he said that he was relieved because he didn't know if he would see her again, what was going to happen in that moment. But yeah, just a harrowing tale of what happened inside the church this morning when Wes and so many other school children at Annunciation School were kicking off the school year, going to Mass in the middle of prayers. He said it happened really soon after Mass began, and it was just the unthinkable that unfolded thereafter, guys.
So scary and so brave at the same time. Jumping into shield his friend.
10 years old.
10 years old.
Fifth grader there.
Caroline Cummings, we appreciate that update.
I think we have some sound from a grandfather who went through one of those scary moments.
Mm-hmm.
Inexplainable, and it happens way too much. And when it happens to your own children, then you're going to think very differently about this. And there's only one way to think about it. And there's nothing this precious little boy ever did to deserve this. To go through it. It's just heartbreaking.
I spoke to a father earlier. We're going to play this sound right now. He talked about those moments of coming to the school looking for his children, and about a thought that many parents have had, especially this generation of parents who have grown up from Columbine, from Sandy Hook, and thinking, what would I do in this situation?
I was on my deck. I heard the shots. I think there was that. What's sad is that I've thought about this before. What would we do? I worked with the school to get 3N bulletproof film on the school side in the foyer. And so
this was something that was on the school's radar before.
Yeah, I mean, it's on every American's radar. You know, as a parent, you have kids in school. This is the worst case scenario that you unfortunately have to think about. And so when I first heard those shots, I think I knew pretty immediately that those were gunshots. And I thought through what would happen. What would I do? And so I just immediately said, I got to get up there. And so I hopped in my car. I grabbed this. It's like a non-lethal firearm that I have called a Berna, and just sped up there. And so my windows were down as I was trying to place the shots. And I pulled into the parking lot. The shots were still going off. I saw a dad who works at the school, And I said, is the school locked down? And he said, there's a shooting at the church. And he said, and all the kids are in there. And I just felt like I was going to throw up. And so I parked and I ran up there. The police were kind of screeching up as I was approaching the church. I wasn't hearing shots. And I ran in as the police were getting there, kind of alongside. It was just chaos. Then just started helping kids out, saw a lot of injured kids. Yeah. It was tough. And I just, selfishly was just like, where are my girls? Where is June and Olive? That's all I could think about.
Just a harrowing kind of experience for any parent. And we were speaking with him, of course, for a long time and just kind of processing all of it. And one of the other parts of this we were talking about is, usually when tragedy strikes, where do you go for comfort? Where do you go to find refuge? You go to your house of worship. You go to the sanctuary. That's where they were this morning, en masse, praying for a successful new year, praying for a year of growth, a year of fulfillment, a year of being challenged academically, of social success, of just all the things you would want in this new year for your children and for your community. And now where do you go? And how do you come back from that? And what do you pray for? Because that sanctuary is also where you try to find your inner peace. And when that security and when that sense of self is ruptured, it's a very difficult thing to put back together.
We understand that 11 people went to HCMC, 5 people, and these were more of the non-critical cases, ended up going to Children's Hospital. That's where our Susan Elizabeth Littlefield is. And Susan Elizabeth, we understand you talked with a family member there?
I did, Heather. Actually, an updated number for you. There are 6 patients that have been admitted here at Children's. And to be clear, it is a level 1 trauma center. So much like HCMC, this is something they train for. I actually talked to the staff this morning. They said, yes, we do these mass casualty situation drills. And today is something they never wanted to put into practice. You can see over my shoulder right there, the emergency room. This is where they were taken this morning, a little bit earlier. Family and friends surrounding those patients right now. In fact, we were outside when we saw one of the grandfathers of one of the patients come up. He has an 8-year-old daughter who is in the hospital. He told us that he got word about this morning. The important piece of information here is that she is okay. I want to let you hear a little bit of what he had to say.
It's very sad. Should not be this way. People should not have guns. That's the way I look at it.
What are you going to say to her when you see her?
Give her a hug, that's all.
Now, Children's Minnesota is actually asking people to try and avoid the emergency room. Of course, an emergency is an emergency. So if you or someone you know has to come in today, they understand. But they are incredibly busy right now, and they're asking that if possible, people go to the St. Paul campus today. It's all hands on deck here. And again, we know there are 6 patients here. I did talk to the staff. I talked to him about 3 times this morning, checking in. I could not get a status on their condition. Now, we do know that that man we talked with, his 8-year-old daughter, who was there at the time, is safe. He told me a little bit more of context, too. He said he got the call this morning, and of course, he said the first thing, is she okay? And in his case, she is okay, but he aches over the fact that knowing not everyone got that confirmation on this day.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's the toughest part of it all.
That's the hard thing. His 8-year-old granddaughter is okay, but we know there is an 8-year-old child out there that is not.
And okay is such a relative term on a day like today.
Absolutely.
Because physically okay is something different than
It'll never be
emotionally,
okay.
mentally okay, and having witnessed and gone through what all of those kids and adults there went through this morning.
We're going to go to Marielle Mose, who was able to talk with a witness who says that they escaped the gunman. Marielle, what can you tell us?
Yeah, good morning, Heather. So we're actually in downtown Minneapolis right now, where this witness works to catch up with him after he saw or he heard these gunshots ring out this morning on his way to work. He lives in the Armitage neighborhood, not many blocks from where this shooting took place at Annunciation School. Here's what he had to say of what he heard this morning around 8:20 this morning.
There was 2 cars in front of us that just stopped in front of the school. So we were like the 3rd car behind. And I saw a man running up the street the other way, and he was frantically running, like he was running for his life. And so that kind of alerted me that something was wrong. We heard probably about 15 to 20 gunshots in about 30 seconds. So we just booked it. We took a left. We jumped on Harriet. You know, we drove by and we said, "Are you okay? Do you want to come in the car with us?" And he said, "Yes, please." He's like, "Someone's shooting at me. Someone's shooting at me." And so we get in the car and we just ask him what's going on. He said that a man dressed in all black was firing shots, and he didn't see anything else besides what he was wearing, but he hit the ground. His hands were all beat up from hitting the ground so hard. Then he got up and he said, "I have to start running. I have to go."